Okay, it is the 4th. December 4th. We are in Long Beach. Let's see what we have around here. We have a good amount of mental illness tactics. Cars in whites and twos, and two more whites and twos. As I recall, there were connected events with an Asian girl from the Warner Center Met. This was a long time ago, just like the Asian guy in the white Tesla. Okay, so we are by 2nd Street. Nick's on 2nd. Okay, so, and while this is a worldwide event, I was just eating in a Denny's, being the whistling tactic from the chefs nonstop, and the constant boss over and over, and what are some of the other verbal harassments? Boss. I don't remember a couple of other tactics, verbal harassment tactics. Okay, so, okay, I see two white soul-looking things together here. And then over here there's 3 whites. And these 2 or 3 more whites groupings here. I was just driving. I mean, there's 100 million. Every 100 feet, there's pretty much things directed at me. But there were some obvious groups of reds on one of these streets. Okay, groups of whites here. 2s. And then what 2 pairs of whites and 2 more pairs of whites right there. Pairs of whites here. Two whites here. Two whites here. I believe I see a pair of reds. 2 reds coming up here, I think. Oh. 2 whites all over the place, but down there, guys actually getting out. Okay, let's check out the main street here. This is 2nd Street. Nick's on 2nd. We're getting low on signal here, so it's too early in the morning. It's about 8 a.m. So we're a little early. I'm sure we'd see a lot more things on the main street. Okay, let's not waste that energy. Let's not waste that battery. Let's sort of come out this way. And Okay, I believe 2 whites on both sides of the road. 2 whites and 2 whites. No, just one side. 2 whites there. Obviously, some of these are and some aren't. There's the coincidences and the intentional coincidences, and ironically, probably 80% are intentional coincidences. 2 whites there, 2 more whites there. Two whites here, 2 reds here. Two reds, I think. No, just one. I drove down one of these streets. There was like 3 or 4 pairs of 2 reds. Laverne, that's what it was. But I can't. Finding it with the drone is a whole different. Okay. Okay, so this is also where the George Floyd thing was, with the attack with the black skater and the Mexican guy years ago at the George Floyd rally. Okay, so two, no, there. So I was looking for my little direction thing. Okay, so I'm starting to head back here, and let's just look at this parking lot. We have some kind of sort of possible groupings of whites. They're not necessarily pairs backwards or anything, so it's hard to surprisingly, this area looks closer to normal, doesn't it? This is what things would look like when they're normal in this tiny little section, right? They're just sort of randomly. Maybe you see a couple pairs once in a while, right, but not every 100 feet. Okay, I'll just note the 2 whites here because see all the space. So, oh, actually there isn't. Those cars are just, can't see them. Okay. Oh. Okay. 2 reds here. We're starting to get low on battery. 2 reds here. So this is where it gets a little more obvious. Example, these 2 reds. You really see that. Well, they don't have a lot of space. They don't really have a choice where to park, but 2 reds. Okay, but a lot of times you do see that. You see like there's like 50 available spots, but they want to be together, and they could choose to park anywhere, but they choose to sort of pair up. Okay, you see that tons of times, and then you go, well, why did they choose to do that? Why is there so many people choosing to do that, right? Okay, So, and these are sort of the ones we first focused on as the battery gets low. And that's interesting that normal mode is almost identical in flight time as sport mode. Okay, so 2 whites in the parking lot there together. And then do everything like 2 backwards and 2 backwards pairs. I don't see any. So the battery's really starting to get low. And okay, so let's just land. Okay, we are in Hermosa Beach on Hermosa Boulevard. There are some good amount of clumpings of white cars. Um, so we're gonna sort of go out this way. I don't know what this way looks like, but I know what the other way looks like. So. I think I saw mostly white car groupings. I don't think I saw like the red car groupings or the other. There's always other things that I'm not seeing because there's so many things happening directed at me. I will just note the 2 car covers there. 2 different cars with car covers. I'm not going to say that's that one. There was a car cover thing at Warner Center Park years ago, like groups of people getting together with car covers on cars, but I can't tell you what that is. Okay, so 2 whites here, 2 more whites, so 2 pair of whites and another second pair of whites. Surprisingly, this area looks closer to normal. However, you could say no, never mind. You could say 2 blacks, right? But I'm not seeing that so much as a pattern. It could be, but I'm not seeing it. Okay, so remember, but there are other things. There are like 2 blues, and there's 2 yellows, and there's okay. But the predominant aggressive one is the 2 whites, and that started. So 2 whites here. That started with a guy in a white Tesla. They would wait for me every day or night to take walks in Woodland Hills, and he was waiting for me to walk by his car one night. He was an Asian guy with a white Tesla, and he says, "You touched my car." And I said, "Well, I didn't touch your car, but why would that be such a big deal?" I said, "Why don't you tell me what you people are all so mad about?" And he said, "Well, why do you take so many walks?" And that was sort of the defining moment that we are monitoring. Remember that the police monitoring starts at 5 years old. We are watching everything you do. We even have police death threats on video. We're watching you, Perlman. Okay? We're watching everything you do, and we're collecting. And, 2 whites here. This is a good little hidden. So it's this obsession. We're watching everything you do. We're collecting everything you do. Okay, so 2 whites here. I probably already just did these, but we're 2 whites here on the left. We're watching everything you do, and we're collecting, and we're obsessing, right? We're watching everything you do. We're collecting, and we're obsessing with worldwide groups. So we're you parked in this parking spot twice in 1 year, so therefore you suffer from. So we're going to get together, worldwide groups, and help you by locking you away and ridding you of the world. 2 whites down this way. And you're going to say, well, that's called stalking. You're a psychotic, obsessed murderer. Okay, you're not helping anyone or anything but yourself from your fear and your hatred, right? But they can't see that. they think that they're better than everyone else and better than God and above the law. And who's telling them to do it? The police, my family, the police, the psychology community. So they don't care. They've gotten away with it daily since I was 5 years old with teachers, elementary school teachers and high school teachers, and Tom Farley and Tracy Picos and Brian Weaver. Okay, so let's now go this way. 3 whites here. So we're in Hermosa Beach. This is Hermosa Boulevard, I guess. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing 2 batteries. 3 white cars here. Now this is interesting because this really defines things. Look at the clearing. Look at all these spots they could park in, but they choose, correct? Where do they choose to park by? Okay. By the other whites, correct? To group together. Why? And this also applies to blues or pairs of 2s backwards or more in parking lots. And they're not doing it for no reason. They're not random events. 2 whites here. They're doing it directed at someone, and that the very person they verbally harass. Example, I was just in a restaurant, and the guy kept going, boss, 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 and other things. And that's one of the tactics. They do at every restaurant. And this started with my father and Lorraine Escobar. Let's go out to lunches, and we're going to terrorize you at the restaurants. I will just note these 2 reds. They're not really together, but they're sort of clumped close. And, okay, not a lot of places to go, but straight. Okay, 2 whites here. Oh, okay, so this is good. 2 more reds together. Now, if you want to really sort of look around at other things, there's probably blue groupings, and I see 2 blues close to each other, not necessarily together, but the 2 reds here really make it obvious. Okay, so they're together, and that was sort of what I was pointing out in Long Beach right before this, but there was a heavy grouping of like 4 or 5 pairs, but I couldn't find them with a drone. I drove by them. Laverne Street or something, and then there's 2 reds, and I'll be fair and say it could or could not be, but statistically, the amount of things happening every fucking 100 feet, right, are not possible. Okay, so statistically possible. You could be struck by lightning 15 times a month, and that would be equivalent. Okay, so there's the intentional coincidences, and the coincidences, and the psychology community and the police and my family are going to make the intentional coincidences look like coincidences, correct? And then you're going to read into the coincidences the real coincidences. Okay, 2 whites there. I'm just sort of monitoring my battery power. And I think there's 2 whites here. It's hard to see if they're gray or white. 2 whites on the right here, and then 2 whites on the left over here. And then another clearing here where there's 2 whites. Okay, so on here, I think, unless one's gray, but I think they're both white. And we're starting to hit the turnaround point on battery power. And then I think we have some white, hard to see, white groupings here. And I'm going to turn around. Let's just get a occasion. So we're starting to get low on battery, and we gotta head home. Okay. Head back. Okay, so here you go. 2 whites on the left and the right of right there. And then, like I said on one of the other videos, it used to be things like, 2 red pickup or 2 pickups, 2 Civics. Sometimes the colors would be, but 2 Civics, 2 pickups, 2 Camrys, and that was, some of those videos I got with Brittany Henderson at the Warner Center Park alone. There was one video I recall, where just down Mary Lee, street, which LAPD is trying to make about mental illness because I own a house by Mary Lee Street, so I must suffer from mental illness. Yeah, I think maybe that's a coincidence, right? Okay, there's 100 million streets with 100 million names, and if they're having girls named Heather follow me from place to place, trying to pretend redheads trying to pretend they're my cousin Heather, I'm not. It's not mental illness on my part, but it's clearly mental illness on their part, right? Okay, so I'm gonna note these two reds. I sort of lost track. They're not really together, and then it's interesting because there's another sort of clumping this red here, right there, just kind of like that other intersection, right? And then we got the three whites here, and I probably already did these, but I'm just sort of watching my battery here. Yeah, I did, but three whites there. And some locations they do a cross. They do, like, see how these two whites are like on the house I own in Woodland Hills, they do this a lot. They do like red on both sides. Okay, so red this side, red that side, blue this side, blue that side. And there's thousands. There's literally, and not when I say thousands, I'm not talking about cars tactics. I'm talking about in general, verbal clothing. Three whites here. Interesting because three's here, three's back there, right? And once again, I'm on normal mode, and the flight times are almost equivalent to sport mode, which is weird. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So luckily, we only need to fly one battery. I think that's fine. Okay, so there's enough there that it's not coincidence.